What are some reasons you could owe when you file your taxes this year instead of getting a refund? Got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. There's been swirling on TikTok around people saying, they're going to owe on their taxes this year, or they just tried to file and they do owe on their taxes this year, and making all sorts of stink. Guys, honestly, I think a lot of that is they're making it up because that draws attention, and there haven't been a lot of enormous changes this year. Some of the ones that I saw talked about, well, the Trump tax cuts, the American Tax Cut and Jobs Act, that's about to expire. It had no interest or had no bearing on 2023. But there are a couple legitimate reasons in certain circumstances where you might be surprised and actually will owe when you file your taxes, as opposed to getting a refund. Let's get into those. First, we've talked about this a few times, but if you're retired and you're drawing Social Security, and I think the more common one that's going to catch you by surprise is if you've been retired for a while and you're drawing Social Security and you've never had to pay tax on your Social Security before, or any Social Security that has been included on your return has been really minimal, and it really hasn't caused a surprise. I think in 2023, so when you're filing your taxes right now in early 24 for 23, I think that could catch you by surprise. And those are the ones where it's not just, well, there might be a little bit of a surprise, but no, it's going to make a lot of taxable income. So here's the thing, Social Security, each year there's a calculation done and a cost of living adjustment made. And sometimes that cost of living formula is zero. Hasn't been that way for a decade or so, been a while. But the past several years, there's been an increase, a higher than normal cost of living adjustment, thanks to inflation, right? From 22 to 23, it was an 8.7% increase in your Social Security. Now, that's a big deal. And yes, inflation was a bigger deal, but that's a big deal. So why would that influence the amount of tax on your tax return? Well, how much of your Social Security actually lands on your tax return? Not all of it, but none of it. Depends on your situation. There's a formula. Sorry for the poor grammar there. There's a formula. All of your other income, so all of your non-Social Security income, and I'm paraphrasing here, but this is close. All of your other income plus half your Social Security. So all of your other income plus half your Social Security. If that number, say married, filing jointly, is over $32,000, then some of your Social Security starts landing on your tax return. $1 for every $2 you're above that, and then but if your income's really high, that formula is really high, then the maximum amount of your Social Security that can come over is 85%. So the majority of your Social Security. If you're a single filer, you're either a widow or divorced or had never been married, then that number, all of your Social Security, all of your other income plus half of your Social Security, once it's over $25,000, then some of your Social Security starts coming over. So what's the big deal? Well, there was an 8.7% increase on your Social Security. There was not an 8.7% increase on that threshold, on that 32,000, on that, when you do that formula, what's the threshold that you need to, that you're over, and once you're over that, then some of your Social Security starts becoming taxable. That threshold has never changed since it was introduced decades ago. So it was almost 6% of cost of living adjustment the year before, a couple percent before that. And so all of those cost of living adjustments that we've seen recently have not influenced the tax formula to influence how much of your Social Security is landing on your return. Therefore, more people, simply because Social Security has gotten higher, it's grown because of cost of living adjustments, more people will have Social Security land on their tax return for the first time. And if you didn't have any withholdings on your Social Security, then it's going to mean you owe taxes, and ultimately, instead of getting a refund, you're going to owe because you didn't have any withholdings to offset it. If you're listening to this saying, I'm not drawing Social Security, I'm not anywhere close to that, maybe mom and dad, right? Maybe mom and dad. This for the first, you've thought, oh, their Social Security's on autopilot, not a big deal. And for the first time in forever, they're going to owe a few $1,000s when they file their return. This is why. Second reason you could owe when you file your taxes, this isn't new for 2023's return, but it's a surprise nonetheless from many years, is if you get your health insurance through healthcare.gov, The amount that you that you receive, or excuse me, that you pay for your health insurance each month is dependent upon your income. So when you go to healthcare.gov and you're getting your health insurance through the marketplace, they're going to ask, how many people are in your household, all that sort of stuff, and then what's your expected income this year? And from that, they're going to set your monthly insurance rates, what you pay for your health insurance. But if your projected income is below certain levels, then you could be getting a tax credit. But instead of getting that tax credit on your tax return, you get it in advance every single month. That means you pay less for your health insurance. Well, then when you file your tax return, if your income is higher than what you said it was going to be when you went to healthcare.gov, then you got to pay those tax credits back. And this means thousands of dollars for some people if you weren't planning ahead. Sometimes people look at this and say, well, I'm in between jobs right now, and while I'm in between jobs, my income's going to be very little, so that's what I'll put when I go to healthcare.gov. No, it's looking at your entire year, not just while you're in between jobs. The other mistake people make is they assume, well, it's just my income. Just my income, when they're not looking at all of their income, so their spouse's income, or they're just thinking my wages. I just had this recently where we caught it, where a client had met with our health insurance team and said, yeah, I don't know, I'll probably make 60 grand this year. No, that's just their wages. They were going to have other sources of income that was going to be a lot higher than that. And guys, that could mean thousands of dollars that end up landing on your tax return that you owe because you're not eligible for these tax credits that you were getting all along each month. Third tax surprise could catch people off guard when they file their 2023 tax return is the stock market did better. The stock market did better in 2023, thank goodness, right? And if you own investments outside of tax shelters or outside of retirement accounts, if you own mutual funds, they could pass through some capital gains and some tax responsibility onto you. Mutual funds, they don't pay taxes. They're what's called a pass-through entity. And if that mutual fund bought Apple stock way down here years and years and years ago, and at some point in 2023, because the Magnificent Seven was doing so well, they said, gosh, we've got a lot in Apple because it's been growing so much. Let's trim off some of these gains and diversify. Well, when they sold some Apple stock inside that mutual fund, there was a big capital gain that they need to realize. But you need to realize it because you're the shareholder, so they pass that along. So capital gain distributions catch people by surprise. Dividends as well that you don't receive, that are just reinvested inside that non-IRA, non-retirement account. Even if you don't receive the dividend, if it's being reinvested, I mean, good for you, but those dividends are going to land on your tax return as taxable. And the final tax surprise that could cause you to owe taxes this year instead of getting a refund is higher interest payments paid on, bank accounts or money market accounts or CDs. And this is likely not so, for the average person, it's not going to be so bad that, you owe thousands and thousands of dollars like Social Security or that healthcare.gov premium tax credit issue. But this could mean it erodes your refund, or you might owe a little bit. Because not only were banks actually paying interest for the first time in a long time, also for the first time in a long time, those were attractive. Because after 2022 and how awful the stock market was, you might have said, I'm putting dollars, I would have made more money. I would have been better off just having money in a savings account. And you got to be careful, got to work with your CFP on that to see, well, is it short-term money or if it's long-term money? If it's long-term money, let that, ride through the ups and downs. If it's short-term money, then certainly. But more and more people were compelled to invest in a CD or invest in a treasury bond or keep money in a money market, or just keep it in a savings account at the bank. And for the first time, really since 08 and 09, that you're earning enough interest where, gosh, you're going to get a tax form this year, and that could actually, adding that interest on your return could actually mean the difference between you getting a refund and you owing. So those are a handful of the reasons why you might get a surprise when you file your taxes. Here's how to avoid surprises. Doing tax planning. Tax planning is one of the 6 areas of your financial life, not tax preparation. Tax preparation is what I'm talking about. Let's look backwards at what happened last year, get the right number in the right box, and deal with the consequences. That's what most people do. Tax planning is what you need. That is the proactive look at, well, what should I be doing to minimize my taxes? And we actually say, well, it's great to minimize your taxes each year, and that should be a goal. really, how can you minimize your taxes over your lifetime or multiple lifetimes? What are those strategies? And then implementing the strategies that bring synergy to all 6 areas of your financial life. In the process of doing that proactive analysis of your tax picture, you help avoid surprises as well, because you're doing a tax projection. You're always forecasting, well, what do we think taxes are going to look like? And therefore, you're able to head off a lot of tax surprises before they actually occur. Work with your certified financial planner on that and avoid surprises and capture opportunities. If your CFP is not helping you with that, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.